Hey, welcome back to Bridges. We're talking to Adam Martinez, Toledo City Council person. Unfortunately, we'll be losing Adam in this new term, but we're talking an awful lot about the things that he's contributed, and I have a really strong feeling that he's not going to be too far from sight in the next couple of years. Let's talk for a little bit, though, about your support of Mayor Bell. You did that at a time when the Democratic Party was in amazing disarray. There was lots of support around the independent at that time, D. Michael Collins. Lots of questions around why that was happening. There was really a sort of anybody but Bell conversation going on in many segments of the community. But you stepped out at a time when it was most important to your campaign, and you supported Michael Bell against all of that stuff out there that said to you that that wasn't the right political thing to do. Why'd you do it?
Well, you know, for me, it was the right thing to do. I had a lot of people ask me, why? You didn't have to. Well, yeah, I really did. And based on my experience and working with the Bell administration, we didn't always agree.
Yeah.
And we certainly had polar opinions on you know, right to work and, you know, union type issues and stuff like that. But the bottom line is, he knew the fact that he didn't necessarily know everything, and he was okay with that. But he surrounded himself with people who did.
Who did know.
And I admired that. He took great leadership, especially around international development. My background's in international business, and I think that's incredibly important for us moving forward. You know, the racial profiling issue came up. And this isn't the first time that it came up when, just the first time in an election season. Actually, myself and Councilman Steele brought this up in 2010. And
Really?
Then, yeah.
In what context?
We actually strengthened the racial profiling ordinance, and I'm hoping he'll bring it back in this coming year.
Tell us a little bit about that ordinance. I don't remember that.
Yeah, it was in 2010, so it was 2 years, and it basically got put into the criminal justice subcommittee under D. Michael Collins and pretty much died there. And really what it is, we expanded it to kind of focus it a little bit more, not just racial profiling, but ethnic, gender. And this is kind of before what happened with the Trayvon Martin thing, and it wasn't in reaction to, it was just the fact that we wanted to make sure that we're all inclusive. And, you know, our community, nobody, and I don't care what race or gender you are, shouldn't feel that they're being picked on or targeted in any shape or form. So it really wasn't an anti-police statement or anything like that, because I think people are human, and I think Mayor Bell said the right thing. People are human, and I'm sure it does happen. But, you know, the bottom line is, we had an opportunity as a council to strengthen this so it doesn't become an issue, and that the rules are on the books. And you know, unfortunately, it didn't get the support, and I'm hoping that it'll come back. But if it doesn't, you know, it certainly was an interesting, I guess, response from the community, because I didn't get just support from the African American community or the Hispanic community. I got it from the Caucasian community. I got it from the Asian community, and not just gender, but also age. Everyone kind of referred to as DWB or DWH, or, you know, driving while black or Hispanic. I had a lot of young people that
it is really a community conversation. It absolutely is a community conversation, and I think one of the best things about that happening, and I was actually in the room when D. Michael Collins was asked at the NAACP
I remember. I was there also.
event about his position on racial profiling. The great thing about it is that it started a community conversation, and I think that's critical. And,
Absolutely.
And I actually have faith that he will address this moving
I think
forward.
he will also.
I really do.
You know, I think if you're just looking at pure statistical data, sometimes you kind of get lost in the bigger picture, and that can happen. You know, in policy, you kind of get lost in the data, and you lose focus of what you're really trying to do. And again, the best thing that came out was a good community conversation, and I don't expect it to end anytime soon.
Yeah, and although I really like Chief Diggs an awful lot, I also like Moton, the guy that he's replacing him with. I've known him for a number of years. He's a great guy.
You know, I was very interested in that, because it was interesting that now Chief Moton was selected versus, I believe her name is Diana Krause Reese, which Mayor-elect Collins could have made history in putting the first Hispanic female chief in place. But I'm not sure what happened. I don't know if it was politics or personalities or what. But, you know, that was a big disappointment.
That he did not.
That he did not.
Yeah.
But we only retained, one, I guess, highest-ranking Hispanic official, which was Chief Santiago, which he's done a phenomenal job.
It's an amazing job.
First in the state. So,
yes.
That was the other reason that I really supported Mayor Bell, is because I think he was really committed to diversity, inclusion, because he's been there, and whether you're female, whether you're Hispanic, whether you're African American, everybody deserves a shot. We're to the point where it's about the best and the brightest and the most qualified, and gender and race should not be an issue. But does it mean it happens? Sure.
Sure, it happens. Absolutely it happens. And I'm actually one who thinks that it is still important to consider. You want a diverse environment. You need a diverse environment if you're going to be good, for so many reasons. So I think that those are still important considerations.
I agree.
In lots
when
of
you
ways.
surround yourself with people like-minded, you just
get nowhere.
You don't get anywhere.
You absolutely get nowhere. So do you have a sense of how your community, and when I say your community, I'm speaking of the Latino community, do you have a sense of how that community is responding to the fact that that we're losing?
Yeah,
so
actually,
many folks like you,
I've gotten a lot of phone
you?
calls and say, run for District 2, we'll
Yeah,
support
you're not
you.
running for
No,
District
I'm
2.
not.
What's up with that?
Yeah, I'm recently married, so we're still at our first year in marriage.
Yeah,
so we just celebrated our
congratulations.
first year anniversary.
Do you want to wave to Alexa?
Hello.
Hi, honey.
Hi, baby, I'll be home soon. But a district representative is very, very different than an at-large representative. I spend about 30 to 40 hours working on policy and kind of big picture type things, and to do that in addition to handling constituent complaints. Plus, I'm also an adjunct instructor for Owens Community College. I teach business and leadership for them. And plus, I'm a licensed realtor, plus.
Yeah.
I just felt I would not be able to do the job 110%. And not to mention, I wanted to make sure that I was going to do it for the right reasons.
Right.
It would be very easy for me to go and run because I lost.
Right.
And to me, that's all ego. And if you know me, I'm not about ego.
It's not kind of where it is.
No.
Yeah. But the community has some expectations of you and your voice and your presence. I mean, the community's invested in you through all of these, through your terms there, and they want to see you do something. What's that something going to be?
I'm not sure. I'm not going away from politics. I will definitely run again. I'm just not sure in what capacity. It may be for another at-large appointment or race if it should become available.
Yeah.
Maybe for a county commissioner spot in the future. I don't know. Right now,
there's a county commissioner's race coming up pretty soon.
I really like Carol.
You want to announce something here?
No,
you want to? No.
No,
okay.
I really like Carol. I think she's done a great job.
Yeah.
And I will support her in her.
Yeah,
in
and
her
that crowd,
run.
if rumors are true, that field's getting pretty crowded right now. Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
But when I ran, I think I ran for the right reasons, because I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to make sure the nonprofit community had a voice. I wanted to make sure the Latino community had a voice. I wanted to make sure that those who just kind of get passed over, ignored sometimes, actually have access.
Kind of voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I did, which is probably unique, is at the end of the year around this time, I would set up meetings, and it was always difficult because of the holidays, but in January that I would do a 360 analysis and really just ask people's opinion. Did I do a good job? Is there something that I should have done different? How can I improve? So
and you actually use that feedback and
absolutely, and everything I
forward.
did, absolutely.
Can we change the subject for just a second? Because I want to get your impression on immigration reform.
Sure.
We have the amazing Baldemar Velasquez here, who does a great job of keeping migrant issues, labor issues in front of us, and immigration issues. I've heard him speak about that. But we don't hear an awful lot of discussion about it in any real way in this community.
Well, I think a lot of people shy away from the issue because it's such a hot button issue.
I think that's exactly the reason we should talk about it.
Well, this conversation's been going on since the founding fathers founded us, Native American versus immigrants. So. It depends on whose side you're on. And really, when most people look at me just because I'm Hispanic and I look a certain way, they just assume that I'm automatically pro-immigration rights, which I am. But it's a bigger conversation. It's a bigger policy, because that just doesn't impact the Latino community. At the heart of Toledo, unfortunately, we're at the cross section of sex trade, child trafficking, and we get a lot of European immigrants that are trapped that we don't really talk about, because when we have this preconceived notion, when we're talking about immigration reform, we're talking about those Mexicans, those Latinos. And I'm like, I don't have anything against Canadians, but we need to make sure that what we're doing sets a precedent for everybody.
That's cool. So when we do a show on immigration reform, you'll come back and talk with us about that. You did some work, and we've got just a couple of seconds left, but I want to talk to people quickly about your work with domestic violence.
Yeah, my uncle actually was a big advocate in the domestic violence issue. He ran the victim assistance. He just recently passed, and which was a big hit for me. But again, it's one of those things we just don't talk about, especially in minority communities, whether it's because of job loss, alcoholism, what have you. It's just very still taboo. And I was very pleased to find out that City Council moved forward in creating their own domestic violence court. And I think that's much needed. I think there's a lot more that we can do, especially around funding, to help these types of nonprofit agencies where people have an outlet and actually can talk to someone who knows the ins and outs of it and really help our community.
Gosh, you've been busy. You've been really busy. So when people think about you moving forward, give me some adjectives that you would like for them to use in describing you.
That's always hard.
Come on.
I don't know.
America's watching.
I know. And that's kind of makes me a little uncomfortable.
Come on, you got 30 seconds.
Well, definitely an advocate. Sometimes a little too nice, but don't consider niceness for weakness. And really just an advocate for making a difference.
Wow. Thank you so much for being with us today. I really appreciate it, and we'll keep talking.
Sure, absolutely.
You and me. We got to go away. We'll be right back. Please stay with us.